This is Molecular with DNB Academy, and in this video I'll be showing you how you can create a simple effects send return track in Ableton Live or in any other DAW to create simple and fast transitions that you can use to your drums. Before we get started, don't forget to like and subscribe so you can keep making these videos. So here's how it sounds like. First I'll show you the dry sound, and then I'll start to implement the send track. Okay, and let's have a listen just to the effects send track. Okay, so as you can see, it evolves over time. It has some modulation over time, and it has a multiple of different effects going on. So if we go over to our effects send track, and if you want to know how to set one up, you just need to right click and you can create a return track, or you can do the shortcut, which would be Option Command T. You can easily create another one like this. Just going to delete this one. Okay, so let's solo our send track here. So the way the send track works is you send the signal over there in parallel, and that signal then gets routed into the master. You can route it back into the original track if you want, but that's normally not ideal. And if you're not experienced or familiar with send return tracks, you probably want to send it back to the master. That's just the easiest way of using it. Okay, so I've got just an effect rack from Soundtoys. This is another video on our Soundtoys series. You can watch a couple of other ones that we've done just focusing on Soundtoys plugins. And what we've got here is quite a simple effect rack, actually. So we've got some distortion starting with. So I'll just send a little bit of the sound over here and mute every other plugin and go by steps. So as you can see, the first one is just distortion. And because the first one is just distortion, it's going to behave differently according to how much sound you send into it. That's just the way that distortion and preamping works. The more you send into it, the more it's going to distort. See, if I don't send a lot, it basically doesn't even distort. It has a low threshold to distort because I'm crushing it a lot, actually. And then we have a filter freak doing just a little bit of movement, ramping up every 2 bars. Now, depending on how you want to use this, you might want to use it ramping up 4 bars, 8 bars, etc. You decide on how you want this rhythm to behave. You can do it every 4 bars, and it's going to still sound good. I'm preferring to use it every 2 bars for this scenario because this is just a 2-bar loop, so I'm using it in 2 bars. Or else, if we stop the looping, we're not going to be able to hear the actual 4 bars. Okay, so it's ramping up. Lovely. We can adjust the resonance, how many poles we want in there. The poles is kind of the how steep the cut is going to be. I'm using high pass filter, but you could use a band pass filter. It's always going to sound good. Lovely stuff. And then moving on, I have a very, very fast delay. Just a little bit of mix, a little bit of feedback so it doesn't get too long. And super fast. You could automate this as well over time in your transition. That's gonna sound really good. And then moving on after this, we have a radiator, which is basically a preamp emulation, and it's gonna sound really good if you increase the input. I'm bringing down the output a little bit to compensate. Lovely stuff. And then after this, we have a phaser that's oscillating pretty much around every 1 bar. I didn't set this to a specific tempo, so it's always a little bit different. So as you can see, this is a very simple effect rack, but very effective, just because, you know, your drums are very static, and as you send it over there, you're creating a copy of your drums that is moving a lot and has a nice little sound to it, nice little effect chain going on. And obviously, if you even automate the echo time over time, that's going to be even better. And you know, you don't need to do this as sort of transition effects. You could always just use it for a specific sound. You know, we could use it like this. Doesn't need to be just for transitions. It's going to sound even better if you increase the feedback so it stays there for a little bit longer. So you can create all sorts of weird, nice little effects with this. And it's good to have some textures like that, so you can keep the track interesting and not just, you know, the simple drums and bass. This is what gives more life and personality to your track. This is sort of like nice little details. So yeah, this is a very short one, just showing you what you can do with a little send track and an effect rack on it. I want you to go over now and experiment with this. You can do all sorts of different cool little things with this. I'm not using any presets, but I'm sure you can find some presets and put them at the end of the chain here and experiment even more. And also, like I said, this is just Soundtoys stuff. You can also put some reverb at the end. You can put some bit reduction at the end. You can put some extra filtering at the end. And I want you to go over and experiment with those things. Okay, so this was Molecular with DNB Academy. Hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to comment and subscribe so we can keep making more of these videos. And for now, thank you.